Welcome to the Sypnotix. I'm Alex. How ya doing? And we have an unboxing video today. One from a brand that you might not have heard of in quite a long time, at least those of you guys in the United States. And that is this company, Sharp, the Aquos Sense 4 Plus. It is a relatively new smartphone in the mid-range. It has decent specs, and the price point's not too bad. I am very interested in the appearance of this phone, too, because Sharp has made decent phones in the past that we've reviewed. It's been a couple years, but one of our most viewed videos was a Sharp phone. So I'm very excited to take a look at this Aquos and see what it's all about, because I don't think a lot of you guys out there know what this phone is. Let's open this up. All right, let's talk specs. Since we have specs right here, Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G processor, 8GB of RAM, 128GB of storage with micro SD card support, 6.7-inch LCD Full HD 90Hz display, 4 cameras, and a 4,120 mAh battery running Android 10. Let's get this off here. First look at the phone. This is what we have here. It's a plastic back. But it feels pretty nice in the hand right off the bat. It's just, I like it. I like this a lot. Let's look at the actual buttons and stuff. So we have a power button here. It's quite a small size power button here. A little clicky. There's a button in the center. That is the Google Assistant button, a dedicated Google Assistant button with volume rockers above it. So that's on the right side of the phone. If you go to the bottom of the phone, we have our USB-C port for charging and data transfer and a speaker on the very bottom. And then on the other side of the phone, we just have our dual SIM tray. And then at the top, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. And I want you guys to see how small this camera hump is. It's actually very thin camera hump. Let's take a look at the rest of the stuff in the box. We have paperwork. Then we also get a case. That's also nice to have, a gel case, because you're not going to get another case for this phone. It's not a common phone. It also gives you a screen protector. Here's what the case looks like on this phone. It's just a cheap gel case that we get here, but it's better than nothing. So I'll take it. Then we have a USB-A charging brick. And then we also have headphones with a 3.5mm port on there. And then we have our charging cable, USB-A to USB-C, very standard stuff. Oh, before we continue with this video, I would love to ask if you guys can hit that bell button so that you get notifications whenever we have a brand new video to help support the channel so we can continue doing videos like this. All right, let's take a look at the actual phone right now. First thing, fingerprint scanner. Works fine, and then it also has face recognition, and there you go, got my face unlocked. Seems pretty good so far. I'm digging it. It seems to work pretty good so far. There we go, got my face again. So 2 forms of login information. And let's take a look at the interface. So this is running Android 10. It's a generation behind, but a lot of other phones from higher more expensive brands are also launching with Android 10, so unfortunately that's where we are. But it's a very stock Android experience. If you look at that, you swipe up. I already downloaded my apps, by the way. Wasn't a lot of bloatware. It seems very responsive with the screen. It's 90Hz refresh rate as well. And then when you swipe left, you have your Google cards. So far so good. Very stock Android. You pull down, you have your drop down notifications, and then your quick settings, and then our settings menu, which we'll explore a little bit, but from initial impressions, it looks very standard. However, Sharp does give you a lot of additional things you can use. First off, let's take a look at alternate home menu. So this is an alternate interface you can use, and you can see it's like just big tiles. Kind of reminds me of like a senior citizen phone, but as you can see, it is very simplified for some people who like that. In the Asian market, which is what this phone is marketed for, I guess it is semi-popular. So there's the second home screen. Here's the one we're used to of our Google. And let's look at the additional features. They call it Aquos Useful. So obviously translation things aren't the greatest when it goes to English. However, high-speed display, you can choose which apps maximizes the capability for the 90Hz refresh rate. So Sharp gives you a lot of flexibility with how you manage the screen. Sharp is known for their display quality. They make a lot of TVs, and they're known for their TV and their value. So you can actually adjust a lot of things. A lot of phones do certain things like this, but this phone in particular gives you a lot more flexibility. So not only can you make the screen more vivid and the colors more vivid, you can also kind of dictate who sees your screen. You can have this whole veil view where you can prevent people from looking at your screen from behind you, strangers. You can also have, as you saw, that harakiri view. And there's just a lot of customization here for you to make the display exactly how you like it in your own personal taste. So a lot of options here from Sharp, always nice to have. And then here's another cool thing. I think this one is actually the most awesome, most useful feature. It's called Scroll Auto. They should have swapped that. It should have been Auto Scroll. But basically, it's if you're reading an article, you can use 2 fingers to swipe, and the phone will just scroll itself. So you don't actually have to use your finger or your thumb to scroll while you're reading. It'll do it itself. It's automated. So check this out. I'm going to try it out. So 2 fingers scrolling upwards, and there we go. It is scrolling down. So I can read the article without touching it. You can adjust the speed, slow it down, quicken it. You can also pause it. And that's pretty good. So I read a lot of articles every single day. So this is one feature, one of these add-on features I might actually use a lot more. Let's see if we can go the opposite way. Can it scroll back upwards? So yeah, it can go up or down, so it can scroll either way. That's awesome to have if you want to reverse read for some reason. Let's take a look at another feature. So there's a feature here that I kind of enjoy that not everybody will use, and that's gaming settings. So gaming settings isn't like a special thing for this particular phone. It's not even a gaming phone, but a lot of phones out there are starting to do this like gaming mode thing where it blocks notifications and it does certain things when you're playing a game to maximize your performance for the game. So you can optimize what the phone does when you're playing a game. And Sharp has given you those options here. And it is a little more than what I would say some of the competitors do for non-gaming phones. So I do like how they have all of these options here in the settings that you can just adjust off the fly one time. So you can turn on your high-speed display, make sure that when you're in gaming mode, it allows you to do that. It's just pretty cool. Actually, there's one thing in there I wanted to check out. What is this Elite Gaming thing here? Oh, it's just telling you that it's using the Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset, which we do like here, the 720G. I think it should be a pretty decent one. Okay, Clip Now. This is a screenshot feature. So it's like a page, right? If I'm flipping a page on the corner, it should take a screenshot. There we go. Just a flick of the wrist there at the top, flick of the finger, and it takes a screenshot there. So easy way to take a screenshot. You don't have to press down and volume rocker anymore to do that. And then the assistant key. So the assistant key we've seen on many other phones. Samsung has done it. A lot of phones have been putting a dedicated assistant key, which you can also program for a different usage, like double tapping for additional features. But there is a assistant key here. So let's try it out here. We press the button, and then I'll ask Google to do something, and Google responds with the weather. Okay, cool. So it works. I do like a dedicated button. I don't personally use it as much. I like reprogramming that to something else. Flexibility of Android there at its best. And then we got some other things. Auto sleep off. You see, these are very literal naming schemes that they're using, these Japanese copies. But it's kind of funny. We've seen this. It's basically when you're holding the phone, it won't go to sleep, determined by your sleep timeout. And it's just little things like this. Here we go. We can use the power key and also navigation keys, and we can change what we use these buttons to activate, like a shortcut button. And then also we can change our navigation layout. We can do this on a lot of other phones. So I've been doing this on all my Google phones since Android 10, and that's the gesture movement. So a little tricky here for me, but there we go. Now it's just back to what I'm used to, swiping up to go home menu, and then swiping left and right for back, things like that. So no longer the 3-button layout. So I'm pretty used to this. I think a lot of us are used to this by now. So it's nice to have that option to switch back and forth. And it's not just special to this phone. Basically, every Android phone out there running Android 10 and above can do that now. So Cool to have. Now let's take a look at the camera just really quickly. I'm not going to go too in depth about this because I will cover this in my full review, so be sure to come back and take a look at that. But there are 4 cameras. Once again, it's pretty flush, not too intrusive. But basically, the 4 cameras, just because there's a lot of cameras doesn't mean it's great. From my initial impressions of it, I took a few snapshots just really quickly. The shutter speed seems kind of slow. So 4 cameras, 48 megapixel f1.8 wind angle main camera, and then there's a 5 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide angle, a 2 megapixel f2.4 macro, and a 2 megapixel f2.4 for depth sensing. Those are the 4 main cameras we have there, and then there's also 2 selfie cameras. 8 megapixel f2.0 wide and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So depth sensors are good to have on your phone. Some of the other ones, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be too useful here, but as you can see, Sharp has claimed that they have this AI technology here that will help improve your shots, and also kind of Apple-esque. They have certain features that are Apple-esque. We'll see how this is, like live photos kind of thing. Once we get our full review, I'll be also posting some photos and videos on Twitter with this phone. So I'll take some photos and post that as I'm in my review period. Of course, you can also see that in our full review video when that comes out in a couple weeks. So be sure to come back for that. But yeah, initial impressions, once again, shutter seems a little slow. Targeting seems a little, the focus doesn't seem too great. So the auto mode isn't as great as some of the other phones. It's not like the cheapest phone, but at the same time, it is a relatively affordable phone in the mid-range. So I do feel like this phone in particular will go up against the OnePlus N10 pretty well. They're relatively comparable in build and size, and it also seems to operate similarly well. And there you have it. That is the unboxing video for the Sharp Aquos Sense 4 Plus. I'm going to have to get used to that name. That is a handful to say. But, initial impressions, I keep looking at my monitor right now because it looks actually really nice on camera. This like black kind of gradient reflection off the light. It looks really nice here in the studio right now. And I love the look of this phone. It's very clean, business-like, very Sony-ish. And even though the materials are not premium at all, if it performs relatively decent for a mid-level phone and we have a pleasant like scrolling and game playing experience, I could see this being a sleeper hit in my opinion. Sharp has once again provided me decent experiences in the past with good looking phones in my opinion. So I'm very excited to see how I feel about this after a few weeks. So be sure to come back in a few weeks for my full review of the Sense 4 Plus. This has all the bands for T-Mobile and global SIM carriers here in the United States. So I'm able to use this phone with the LTE network. So I'm very excited to actually put this in my pocket. Once again, I'm Alex from the Sypnotix. Be sure to head over to sypnotix.com to read all our articles, full reviews, unboxings, everything from not only me and Lita, but our contributors as well. And I'll see you then.
So the other day, I was on a Zoom call at work, and I just dropped everything I was saying, and I told them, subscribe.